up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a quick one. We are talking about the fitment on the GTS hoods, the CS style hoods for the F30s and M2s and M3s, all of the different cars that they make this aftermarket hood for. The reason I'm making this video, get a lot of questions about fitment and what you can do to improve it. At the end of the day, you guys, this is in fact an aftermarket hood. Fitment is not going to be perfect. It is not going to be OEM. If you do want that, you should probably just go ahead and get the actual OEM CS hood. Prepare your bank account. It is going to be very expensive. But if you're just looking for an aftermarket cheaper alternative, this is certainly a good way to go. Now, I personally have installed on my car 3 of these hoods so far. All of them sort of have their quirks and things that you need to adjust and just maneuver to make it fit good, really good, close to perfect in my opinion. So first, to kick things off with this particular hood on this F30, I give this hood fitment like an 8 out of 10 so far. I think I can make it a 9, and I'll show you guys where what I'm doing right now to kind of make that happen. On my previous F30, I think the fitment was a little bit better. On my M2, the fitment was probably about the same as this fitment. It just seems to be hit or miss. I've seen some of these aftermarket hoods from the same company, same molds, fit really good, and some of them fit not so good. And I think that mostly that has to do with how long you've actually spent trying to make it fit well, and 2, just the luck of the draw. Like, what kind of mold do you get and how good is that particular one that you end up getting shipped to you. So let's talk about the problem areas on this hood in particular, and you guys can probably already see it, that corner right there. So right now it's not terrible, but when I first put the hood on and I first started working with it, it was really bad. Like, you could visibly see that it was higher on this side and lower on that side. There's a few things I think you should do before you even paint the hood. The first thing you should do is you should test fit it. You should go through the process and actually test fit it on the car, because if you have to bend things or kind of form fit it to actually make it fit your car really well, you're gonna wanna do that before you actually paint it. Now, if you have already painted it and you're already into the fitting stage, there is something that you can do, and I'm going to show you guys that process right here. But I do recommend, if you are going to do this, just do all that stuff before you paint it, because it's going to be a hell of a lot easier when you get the hood back from paint. Just toss it on and you know how it's going to fit. So when I first got the hood on the car, this side was really bad. Probably the worst that I've seen on any of these aftermarket hoods. And so I knew it was going to take quite a bit of work to get it to fit, and I'm still not done. But basically, this is going to sound crazy to a lot of you guys and you're gonna freak out, but I'm telling you right now, it's okay if you just take the proper steps. What you want to do is pop the hood, grab yourself a rug that's probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet wide, and roll that rug up. Take that rug, lay it right here in your engine bay. If this is the side that you need to bend down, you're going to start pushing and applying pressure on this side. So you're actually taking the rug, creating leverage, and pushing down this side. Now, the obvious thing here is if your hood is already painted, just make sure that the hood isn't really cold, because that is a great way to actually crack the paint on your hood. If it is warm, you'll be just fine. I've actually been bending the living shit out of this hood. Just to be completely transparent, this particular hood did not fit that well, and it took a lot of work to get it to the point it's at now. I've seen a lot of people rocking these hoods online, and the fitment has been really hit or miss. I've seen some really good ones, and I've seen some really bad ones. And for the ones that are really bad, you guys can make them better. There are definitely ways like this to make that fitment a lot better. This side seemed to fit a little bit lower. You can kind of tell, like on the fender where it droops in right there. To be honest, you guys, this is kind of nitpicky, you know, for an aftermarket hood. These are things that you're kind of gonna expect, but you can sort of see how like the line is a little bit high on my fender and it's a little bit lower on the hood. So that side always sat a little bit lower. The middle in general always sat a little bit low in my opinion. You can kind of see like where the bumper sits a little bit higher up. I did the best I could to kind of raise this up, and I'm going to show you all the stuff inside that you need to adjust to make it fit. But if you've already adjusted everything on the inside and you're at the point where you're like, man, I can't get that corner to sit down, just go with the rug. I know what you're thinking, and I know that that sounds totally sketchy, but trust me, these hoods are flexible, and so is your paint if it's relatively warm. If I hadn't done this on my own car, I would not be recommending it. The body shop that told me to do this At first, I was like, no way, like, aren't I gonna crack the paint? They're like, no, it's fine. Just leave it out in the sun for an hour or so and then put the rug in there and then slowly apply that pressure until you bend it down to the point where you're happy with it. So I've probably been bending on this hood for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. It was really, really bad before, and I got it very, very close to perfect. Like I said, for most people, this is probably gonna be just fine in terms of aftermarket, but for me, I'm gonna try and get it like as perfect as possible so you can just see how that side is lifting up a hair. We're just not quite where it needs to be, and you can see it just needs a little bit more persuasion to go a little bit lower on that corner. But I will get it this weekend. I'll spend another 20 minutes or so on it and get it to the point where I'm happy with it. So for the most part, you know, these hoods aren't perfect. Like, this is kind of what you're gonna get for a hood that's around $800 or whatever these cost. And this is just me being like completely transparent with the product, guys. You know, I get a lot of people who are like, well, like, how does it fit? Is it good quality? This is the reality of buying aftermarket body panel parts. You're gonna run into this kind of stuff. And, you know, if you don't want to deal with any sort of fitment issues or any kind of variables when it comes to body panels, just don't buy aftermarket. That's the bottom line. If you're willing to deal with that and put some work into actually like making the parts fit, you can get it really good. It just takes time and it just takes work. So that's the reality of it. This is the other part where you can kind of see the mold is just a little bit strange in here. It's tight on the corner and tight down here, and there's a bigger gap right here. Again, in my opinion, this is like nitpicking. I only say this because some people just expect aftermarket parts to fit like OEM, and that's just definitely not the case unless you want to spend like a ton of money, and people are already complaining that these are too expensive, you know, so I can't imagine what they would do if it costs more to actually make it fit better. But yeah, this side is actually really good. Like, in general, this entire side is a little bit of a weird gap right here, but for the most part, this entire side is really, really good. This side sits a little bit lower right here, but that doesn't really bother me. Really, the only problem area that was bothering the hell out of me was this, and finally I got it to go a lot lower. We'll put a little more work into her to make it fit a little bit better even. So that is that. Let me pop open the hood and kind of show you guys the other things that you need to adjust on the inside, because there are some things. So this is crazy. It gets really, really close right there. It doesn't actually hit though, because once you lift it up like that, it actually comes outward. See? So it actually doesn't hit. It just looks like it is. So when it comes to the hood inside of here, so remember how I said it was really, really close and flat on here? Well, you can lift this guy up down here to kind of push up that centerpiece, and that's what I did. It used to fit very, very low right here. So I loosened this guy up and created a little more leverage on the hood. And remember, when I talk about that rug, I'm literally laying the rug right across here, dropping down the hood, and just using the leverage of the rug to kind of bend that corner. I'll like work my way around it and just slowly bend it. I'm not going crazy. I'm not trying to break the thing, but I'm just applying my body weight on it slowly but surely, and kind of bending it to where I need it to go. These guys, you can take these off and then you can spin these, and if you go this way, you're gonna end up moving the latch outwards, and if you go that way, you're gonna end up moving it inwards, which means it's gonna be a tighter grab on that side. Now this one is as tight as I can go without it having issues closing. So that's one thing you'll notice. If you go too far, it's gonna have some issues when it comes to closing it. You can also adjust this if you need to. I haven't messed with this. I have messed with these. I have messed with these. I have messed with this, obviously the other side, and this. I didn't mess with the latches at all. I left those right where they are. This, I pulled it up a little bit to create a little more leverage in the center. And then obviously these two bolts right here, you're gonna have those to pull the hood forward or backwards if you need to. And then down here, it's gonna be a little tough to see, but right there you can see it. You can loosen those. There's another one up here, but you can loosen these two bolts to lift the hood upwards or sink it lower. So those are really the main points that you need to focus on in order to get this hood to fit right. The first time that I put the hood on, it fit like ass. I mean, they usually do right off the jump, but I had done enough of them that I kind of knew what to expect. It's interesting because Andres' hood, we did Andres' hood, his GTS hood on his F30. His fit really, really good. I was almost shocked at how well that hood fit. And he doesn't have any weird gaps, any strange like panel lines, or any like lopsidedness to it. His is literally perfect. I remember back on my red F30, that hood was also really, really good. On my M2, I had a lot of issues that I had to work with and like deal with, kind of like this one. And then this one has probably been the most problematic out of all of them. For whatever reason, I think I just got like a bad mold or something. The driver's side just seems to just have a lot of temperamental issues with it, and it's just taken a lot of work to get it where it's at. Am I upset about that? No, because again, I know what I signed up for. These are aftermarket parts and I don't expect them to fit like OEM parts perfectly, but it did in fact take some time and a lot of work to get it where it's at now, and it's still not 100% perfect. We are leaving next week for BMW Invasion, and I will get it perfect before the show. But I had a lot of people in the comments who were like, oh, your hood is lifting on this side. It's like, yeah, I know, it's a process with these aftermarket hoods. And you know, I even talked about before, you know, you guys saw that I was talking about actually getting rid of the hood. If I removed it, it wouldn't be so much because of like fitment issues. It would just be because of like style issues. Just kind of like preferring more OEM stuff as of late, but who knows? We'll see what we end up doing. So in short, that is really all the stuff that you need to do to make this hood fit as well as possible. Also, you'll see on your fenders, you have a couple of little, I believe these are 10 mils across here. If you need to, you can pop those out and move the fenders in or out, whatever you got to do. Oh, and then of course the front bumper. There's a bunch of Torx bolts across here. You're going to want to pull those out and adjust the bumper in and out. You're going to have to for sure adjust the front bumper and for sure adjust these guys back there. Those on every hood I've done, I've had to adjust those. These obviously are getting transferred anyways, so you're going to want to be adjusting those as well. I think on mine, I actually ended up adjusting the fender like just a hair. You can kind of see where the old mark was. Just a hair to move it outwards because it was actually sitting a little far this way. So this side has really just been the problematic side for me. The problem child. Like I said before, you know, the rug thing sounds sketchy, but it actually works and it is safe. I haven't bent the hood. I haven't cracked the paint. I just, you know, would literally set the rug in on like a diagonal like that and just apply pressure to that corner. And as long as you just make sure the paint is warm and that it's not, you know, cold, you're not going to crack anything. Just be delicate and take your time with it. And eventually you'll get it to where you want it to be. I think if you really like that style of hood and you want to buy it, I think these are perfect. For the amount of money, I mean, you really can't ask for much more. If you look at the price of the CS hood, you kind of realize that this is a bargain. But I think it's good to be transparent and just, you know, show you guys the reality of it and that it does take time to get it to fit right. And if you're not comfortable with it, take it to a body shop and have them do it. That's all I got for you today. I just wanted to show you guys these couple of tricks and tips that I've learned so far on this GTS hood. And it's just been a different experience every time. And I never really know what to expect, but every single one that I've gotten, I've made it work. I've just put in the time and the effort to make it work. And I think if you had a body shop do it, I would obviously be a lot easier because that's what those guys do for a living. So they kind of like know how to make these things fit. But my suggestion to you guys would definitely be do all that, test fit everything before you paint it. Because I didn't do that with any of my hoods. And I kind of like kicked myself in the ass on this one. I was like, dang man, I wish I would have just like taken the time to test fit it beforehand. I got the hood, I rushed it to paint, and then I like quickly put it on. And not a huge issue considering we're able to bend it with the paint how it is, but you know. Anyways, I hope this helped you out, you guys. If you're thinking about getting a GTS hood for any of your BMWs, I'll have them linked down below by Souvenir. They do a great job on these hoods. Literally all of them come from the same place. They all come from Taiwan, let's be real. But they're not bad for how much they are. I really don't think they're that bad. They look cool. They definitely change up the style of the car. They look a lot more aggressive, and simple, easy mod that can drastically change the way that the car looks from the front end. Anyways, guys, let me know if you have any questions down below. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Peace.